G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and let's get right into it. My fiance is convinced I have a crush on my friend's husband. My best friend Sarah, 26 female, and her husband Matt, 28 male, have put me in a very difficult position with my fiance Jack, 30 male. I've known Matt since my childhood. He was my neighbor, and we were friendly. Sarah and I were roommates in college and became close friends. When I introduced Sarah and Matt, they hit it off and started dating each other. I was happy to see two of my friends get together, but also annoyed that I became the third wheel and was often ignored or set aside because they were so into each other. By the time I graduated, Matt had completely dropped me as a friend. That saddened me, but I was still good friends with Sarah, so it was what it was. Sarah and I would frequently hang out, but I never talked with Matt other than the occasional polite hellos. Sarah would sometimes try to do couples dates with her and Matt, and me and my dates. I found that Matt had developed an unpleasant personality and would frequently be rude and condescending towards me. However, he's a very devoted and loving husband to Sarah, so for her sake, I ignored him. When my fiancé and I got engaged, we had no plans to do a party. Sarah was disappointed that we didn't throw an engagement party, so she organized a small get-together at her home to celebrate us. The party was nice, and as things were winding down, my fiancé and I went to thank Sarah and Matt for their sweet gesture before we took our leave. Matt was pretty tipsy by then, and out of nowhere he suddenly hugged me, and in front of my fiancé said that he was so glad that I was finally settling down, and he's relieved that now I'll be over the crush I had on him. I was shocked and told him that that wasn't true. He just laughed and told Jack that I was always chasing him, and he had to work hard to keep me away. I dragged Sarah in and asked her to please fix this mess, and she was like, "Oh, he's drunk, ignore him," and says, "You know I always trust you. I know you wouldn't act on your crush." Jack was pretty pissed by this point, and he walked out. I ran after him and tried explaining that this isn't true, but he told me that he doesn't want to be anyone's second choice or their backup plan. Since that night, he isn't talking to me or returning my calls. I've talked to Sarah multiple times to clear things with Jack, but she's been brushing me off. I don't understand why they believe this, or why she'd stay friends with me if she thought that I was into her husband. I was in her wedding party and did all the work because her sister, who was the maid of honor, was too busy. I have helped her through her pregnancy and have babysat her kids so many times. She never gave me any indication she thought this, and why would she want me close to her family if she believed this? I feel humiliated that these people think I was pining away for a jerk like Matt. I need help in convincing Jack that this isn't true. I'm also mad at him for throwing away our relationship over what some drunken idiot said. I don't know what I'm going to do about my friendship with Sarah. And now in the comments, Sarah thinks it's true too. She was confident in her relationship and didn't see it as an issue, but I'm pretty sure that she thought it as well. That's why she's brushing you off, because she agrees with him. For Matt to F up your relationship that relieves him of the responsibility of thinking that you have a crush on him is irony of the highest effing level. He's a prick to say that in front of Jack. Point out to her that her husband screwed up your relationship and you expect them to do something about it or you are through with them. I have no idea how to heal this with Jack. He likely won't listen unless he comes to his senses when he calms down. The issue is whether he'll communicate with you at all. But if he does, go full guns on how ridiculous it is that you got them together and would have never done that if you were after him yourself. Meanwhile, drop all contact with Sarah and Matt. They're just effing with your life, and they sound pretty smug and nasty to me. I think it's more what Sarah said that set Jack off. Friends usually know each other's secrets, so Sarah co-signing what Matt said holds more weight than if she had disagreed. Although it's possible that Matt has made slick comments like this to Jack behind your back. And OP replies, "Yes, I think this is right. I'm trying to get Sarah to talk to Jack and deny this, but she's not doing that. I don't understand why she won't do this for me." Matt has probably lied to Sarah the same way he lied to Jack. Unless you can get Matt to confess, the best you can do is sit Sarah and Jack down. Make it clear that you are committed to Jack, loyal to Sarah, and have zero feelings for Matt. Sarah and Matt are people you do not want in your life. If your fiancé is this insecure, I suggest you take a step back. Send him his ring and tell him that you will wait until he decides to believe the woman he claims to love. He also seems like an ass by refusing to communicate. I do not see a great marriage if this is how he resolves conflict. And OP says, I'm quite desperate to not lose Jack, but I'm also angry about his actions here. I don't give a crap about Matt, but Sarah's lack of care is heartbreaking to me. And now on to the update. So I talked to Sarah again and asked her first of all why she'd think that I had a crush on Matt. She said that when I first introduced them, I had talked up Matt and gushed about him, and she took that as me being into him. I said that I was fond of him since I've known him for a long time, but that doesn't mean that I want to be with him. She said when they started dating, I was often upset about it. I said that I wasn't upset about their dating, I was upset that she would make plans with me and then leave me to be with him, and when we were all together, I didn't enjoy being the third wheel while they all ignored me. That had nothing to do with wanting him, and more not liking being left out by my best friend. I then asked her why she hadn't said anything before, and she explained that she could manage the situation. She had asked Matt to stop talking to me completely, and she engineered situations so there was little chance of us socializing with each other. So then I asked her, now that I've explained that I never had a crush on Matt, can you please talk to Jack and tell him? She said she didn't want to lie. This frustrated me immensely. She could ignore the imaginary crush for years and manipulate me, but won't talk to my fiancé to help my relationship. I told her that I was done being her friend. Thinking back, I was always doing stuff for her, and she used me, but did little for me. And now on to the final update. TLDR, Jack and I broke up. So I wrote a long letter to Jack explaining the entire history of my relationship with Sarah and Matt with the recent screen caps. I asserted as best as I could that I had never pined after any guy, and I loved him, and he was my only choice. After days of silence, Jack agreed to talk with me. We met, and he said that he sees two ways of interpreting this situation. 1. Matt and Sarah are right, and he doesn't want to be my second choice. 2. They are malicious people who are messing with me, and that shows very poor judgment on my part that I'd have a best friend like this, and he doesn't want that quality in a life partner. Either possibility leads to the same conclusion that he wants to call off the engagement. He reminded me that I had represented Sarah as one of the most important people in my life. I would jump up and help her all the time. I had once cancelled plans with him to take care of her kid when the baby was sick. It had irked him, but he had seen it as me being caring and nice, but now he's seeing all of that in a different light. I cried and begged him not to end our engagement, but he wanted a break for a while. I thought over what he said for a few days and came to realize that he was right. I was a clingy friend and a doormat. I never even saw how much one-sided my friendship with Sarah was. I was a doormat with Jack too. I didn't want to get married or have kids this early, but agreed to his timelines. I gave up an exciting job opportunity with more money because he didn't want me traveling for work. I love him, but I need to fix myself and be stronger. I gave back his ring, and I ended things. I returned all the gifts he gave me too. He was offended by that, but I didn't feel good about keeping the very expensive things that he had given me. He makes a lot more than me and was very generous with what he gave me, but I can't keep that now. Sarah was quiet for a while, but then she started calling me. I ignored a lot of her calls, but this morning I answered her call and told her about the breakup. I was looking for sympathy from my old friend. She was more interested in knowing if I was still going to watch her kid while she and Matt went on an overnight trip. She got pretty angry when I said no. I have blocked her now. I have lost my fiancé, my best friend, and my relationship with my nephew whom I adored, all in one go. But still, I'm thankful for the comments that showed that this wasn't something I could fix and helped me rip off the band-aid and walk away from this mess. And now in the comments, oh my god, the delusions people have. OP, I hope you run after the job that you wanted, create more memories for yourself, and learn to say no. I hope you have the best life that you can give yourself, and I hope that you can heal from this. They don't deserve you. I hope to see an update about your life in a year with nothing but great memories. And OP replies, that job is gone. I'm more upset about it now than when I had said no to it. It was a golden opportunity that I was lucky to get. Wow, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean to your ex, but F Jack. This really sounds like you dodged a bullet and dropped some dead weight with some shitty non-friends. You will find your people and be much happier. Sending you internet hugs. And OP replies, I kind of see his point of view, but yeah, F him. He shouldn't have asked me to marry him if he didn't trust me or respect me. Even ignoring all the backstory, imagine telling your best friend, my fiance and I broke up. Sorry, I can't watch your kid right now, and then them getting angry about it. Add in the we broke up because of you, and that makes it 100 times worse. It's all fun and games until you lose your free babysitter. It really just shows the level of superficiality with which Sarah dealt with their relationship. I do personally think that OP fell into these relationships with people who would control her in a way which explains the fiancé's reaction. Yup, it is hard to see the forest through the trees when you are that close to someone. It jumped out at us, but we could be more objective. Feel badly for OP. This was a devastating lesson, and I only hope that she continues on this path. What's right isn't always what is best. Our next post is titled, I, 34 female, feel pressure having to take care of my mother, 72 female, who never considers me as her daughter. So I really need to get this off my chest because I have no one to turn to for support about my problems. A bit of a long background before I tell the situation right now. I'm a 34-year-old woman living in Canada, but I am Chinese. My father's family, I'm not sure if they ever considered me family, has run a successful fishing business for nearly 70 years. They have a lot of money and are well known for their successful business. My mother's family is wealthy because both of my grandparents are professors. My two older brothers, 36 and 38 male, get everything they want, whereas I have to beg them to buy me a new pair of shoes because they despise the fact that I exist in this world. What's the reason, you ask? A typical Asian reason for disliking women. Boys are superior to girls, women should stay in the kitchen while men make the money. That sort of thing. My parents despise the fact that I can outshine my two wonderful brothers. That's not going to happen though. I am not smart at all, but I'm active and always participate in events and stuff. They always tell me not to do this and that, and to stay at home and clean the house. I moved out after graduating high school and received a scholarship. I flew to the US and graduated 4 years ago. I passed the board exam and returned to Canada to look for work. Following that, I received a phone call from my grandmother congratulating me. I feel super happy since when I was a child, she has been the only person who has shown genuine concern for me and has given me gifts. Small things, but I 100% appreciate it. My parents chastised me for bragging about my accomplishments and tried to force me to resign from my job. I've cut all contact with them since then, but I've kept in touch with my brothers who also treat me good. They're probably sick of my parents' behavior as well, but they don't know how to cut ties because my parents expect a lot from them. Now, the main reason I'm posting this is that my mother has been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. My brothers both refuse to stay with her and have asked my father to hire a nanny or a caregiver instead. My father had no choice but to ask me if I could at least be with my mother. No, I said. I told them that if they only remember me because they have no other options, then I'm out. I don't care if my mother is afraid of needles or simply wants some company while undergoing chemotherapy. Like, how can they expect me to look after them when they treated me as an outsider and criticized me as being useless as a child? They never give me love, support, or even simple compliments. All of my life, they have blamed me for this and that. But still, she is the woman who gave birth to me, and I feel terrible about it. I don't know what to do. My mind is a mess and I can't do any work because of the continuous calls from my mum's family side and from my dad's side forcing me and pushing me to agree to take care of the sick woman who gave birth to me. What do I do? And note, yes, my mother told me that she never considered me as her daughter when I told them that I'm flying to the US to study. When I was a child, every birthday she would look at me with disgust and told me that she never wished to celebrate any more of my birthdays. And now in the comments, you don't need to take care of your mother. Block them. If they have never treated you like family, then they are not your family. You don't owe that woman care just because she gave birth to you. Stated perfectly, you don't owe them anything and never have to speak to them ever again. The argument that she gave birth to me is somehow justification for a reward or special treatment always struck me as odd, especially if the mother treats you poorly afterwards. Nobody asks to be born, and life can suck. Gee, thanks a lot, Mum. Your brothers said no for a reason. You were right to say no as well. It sounds like your family can afford in-home care, so let them pay for it. I hate your parents. Please don't sacrifice yourself. She has had your entire lifetime to make her choices. One of them was to treat you awfully. She absolutely doesn't deserve any more of your soul. Turn off your phone, take a bunch of deep breaths, and be free, please. You deserve all of the good bits of life. I think you've suffered enough of the bad. And I say this as a mother too. My kids and I are awesome, but I'd still never ask them to sacrifice their lives like that anyway. They get to have their turn to experience life. And now, on to the update. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who messaged me and at least told me what I should do. I apologize for not responding to the comments because I needed to rest and get some therapy to protect my health. I had a lot of messages from my messages and WeChat when I opened my phone again yesterday, coming from my father and mother's family. They keep urging me to return to China and to bring some shame to my mother, who gave birth to me and other such things. Because it was a group chat, my brothers saw it and decided to chastise them for forcing me and exploiting my weakness to force me to return home. They sent a lengthy message in which they describe everything my mother did to me when I was a child. From not providing a heater in my room during the winter season, to turning my birthday into a punishment day, and so on. My oldest brother told them that if my mother treated me well and not like garbage, I would probably take care of her. He then told them that none of her children want to care for her because she is a true witch who mentally abused her children. My second older brother then told them that if the two of them, who had received excellent treatment from the witch, don't want to look after her, what about me, who she only gave punishments and harsh words to? After my brothers said that, none of our relatives texted. If she had treated all three of us well, we would gladly return to China and take care of her. I'm currently taking a break. My boss is aware of what's going on and has granted me a week off so that I can perform well when I return to work. Please treat your children equally, all parents out there. I hope that no other children have to go through what I have. And now in the comments, I'm glad that your brothers had your back. I'm glad your brothers intervened and stuck up for you and had your back too. I hope that you're able to accept your decision is the right thing and not feel bad anymore. You didn't deserve how your parents treated you, and I hope you're able to protect your mental health. Your brothers sound amazing. It seems incredibly rare, in situations like these, for the favored siblings to stand up for the black sheep. I'm so glad that they had your back, and wow, they had your back in the most spectacular of ways. I would give them big hugs if I were you. I am so glad that you had their support, and that they helped you put your family in their place. You deserve so much better than an awful mother like that. It befuddles me when people treat their kids like absolute crap while raising them, and then expect them to actually be their caretakers, and end up shocked when they receive the same energy that they gave. Then again, there never really is logic with those types of people. They never seem to remember the abuse. Either it's always it wasn't that bad, you were an unruly child who needed discipline, I didn't do that, or you are misremembering. I am always amazed at how many of them get selective memory, and somehow they were fantastic parents who did right by their kids. When in reality, if anyone had known how badly they were treating their kids, they would have likely been removed from the house. The selective memory kills me because they say horrible crap that you'll never forget because it's traumatizing, and for them it was meaningless, and they forget it the same as what they had for breakfast on a Tuesday 2 years ago. It was so freeing to see that narcissist parents abound. They all do the same things. It wasn't our fault. I was concerned that her brothers would pick her mother's side, since they were very clearly the favorites compared to OP. But I'm so glad that they stuck with OP. F OP's mum. She is not a mother, she is a walking birth canal. Because clearly she never wanted to pick up the title of mum and actually behave like one. You know it's bad when even the golden children think it's screwed up. Golden Asian child is no blessing. They put insane pressure on their golden egg and then act amazed when the eggs got cracked and broken under the pressure. My oldest maternal cousin is going through that right now. He was held up by my grandma and pushed harshly by his mum his whole life. And as an adult, he's just useless. In his 30s and can't hold down an internship given to him by one of our uncles, let alone a job. Family has been trying to find a wife for him, and it's an ordeal and a half because even with my family's connections, the best they can even manage are the most obvious gold diggers that you have ever seen in your life. And not even the kind that want to live a sugar baby lifestyle. They just want to marry him so they can divorce him after 2 years and get my grandma's big city condo. The rest of us cousins were born in the US after our mums ran here to get away from their bullcrap. And let me tell you, it's a godsend blessing to have grown up away from that drama. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.